We are Mind Incision, and you're listening to Rolling Into Metal.
Rolling into metal.
My name is Joshua Reeves,
All right, Miss Laura.
and you are watching
Rolling
Rolling
into
into
Metal.
Metal. And
Right.
today we've got Joe from Mind
Mind Incision.
what did you say, sorry?
We got Joe from Mind Incision. So,
Yep.
Mind
Mind
Incision.
Incision. So,
And it's really good to have you here today. As I know that you've formed this band in 2022, I believe. And
Yes.
with this band, is that it's a really good hard rock sounding American band with like a lot of metal elements to it. So what made you form in the pandemic is my first question, Joe.
Yeah, so it's funny because all the guys in the band, we've known each other for quite a few years. We've Jay, for instance, and I, the singer, and I have known each other for going on 20 years. We've been in a lot of different bands here in Denver. And some of those bands have gone on to do big tours with like Megadeth, Bullet for My Valentine, stuff like that. And as well as gain attention in the industry with record labels and some pretty big management names like Corey Brennan and Monty Connor and stuff like that. So all of us have been kind of in the scene here in Denver for quite a bit. And John Maggard, our guitar player, he actually started this off as kind of like a solo project, just kind of something he wanted to do for himself at home. Started writing a few songs, and then he just decided he wanted to actually take this live and form a full out band. So they kind of got that formed in the early stages of 2022, and then I actually came in last September of 2023. Haven't seen Jay for a long time. Ran into him at a Mudvayne and Coal Chamber concert here in Denver. Asked me if I wanted to play bass, and I was like, yeah, why not? So that's kind of how everything kind of came together.
Great. And you said that you've toured before with the likes of Bullet for My Valentine and Megadeth. And is there any like elements of like I guess inspiration from that in terms of like making this band have that kind of vibe to it as well? Because some of the tracks I've listened to have a lot of riffy guitar sounds that is similar to Bullet style.
Yeah. So Jay, his old band Arcanium toured with Megadeth. But absolutely, I would say it's a real compilation of different styles and different influences. I feel right now the early to mid 2000s new metal is really kind of coming back. We hear a lot of kids that are in middle school and high school that are really listening to a lot of bands that we grew up with listening to. Bullet for My Valentine, Killswitch Engage, Mudvayne. A lot of those new metal bands are really kind of coming back. So I think it's good timing for us, and that's where a lot of our influences come from. That's what we grew up, all of us listening to. And when you get five minds that are involved together that have similar but at the same time different influences, I think that's when when you listen to Mind Incision, it's got the chunky, heavy riffs, but those clean choruses that allow people to sing along to, and that are really just catchy kind of riffs that allow people to kind of get captivated with it in a sense.
yeah, I'm picking up a definite sound of like Tri-Finger Death Punch in the riffs and the vocals. I really like that sort of American sound. So, who would you say the other bands that influence you the most when you're writing songs of it?
Yeah, I would say, I mean, Five Finger Death Punch is a pretty good one. You know, a lot of I feel like we've got our own sound, but at the same time, you hear a mix of Five Finger Death Punch, mixed with some Mudvayne, maybe some some Slipknot-ish kind of feels. I like to compare our music to, in my opinion, it sounds haunting in a sense. You know, we've got those haunting driving guitar riffs, and along with Jay's vocals, really kind of brings the whole entire thing to life. He's pretty unique in his own vocal style, and as you guys know, any big band out there that's going to be successful has to have like that unique kind of vocal style. So
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, and that's what I was thinking of when I was doing the riffs, is that it sounds a bit like really crunchy and very heavy, and it works out well for you.
yeah,
I really like that. I also obviously saw that you have um like a, I don't know whether it's like a gimmick, but like of like that, of like your outfit for the, it looks like from the horror film my I think it's My Bloody Valentine, that's was called, or I think that's what's called. I'm not too sure.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is not a horror podcast, so forgive me
yeah.
if I'm wrong, but yeah, I think it's from that. The guys with the pickaxes, and I think that like that's where, like, what made you choose that gimmick, basically?
Yeah, so I believe what you're talking about is our recent music video we just released called Left Behind.
Yeah,
And that song is actually, the nickname for it is The Monster Within Me. And that song was written, Jay wrote that initially in a sense about protecting kids from abusive parents or neglected parents, parents that neglect their kids in a sense. And that persona he takes on with kind of the gas mask and the fingers kind of thing is kind of that monster that comes out from within him to protect those kids.
great.
I think it works well.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
but
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know whether you're a horror fan, but it just reminds me of that
Yeah.
that particular film. I think it's Bloody Valentine, correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's called that.
I think you might be right. And you know that stuff's getting more and more popular, I've noticed. You know, you look at, they kind of almost call it spookcore in a sense. You know, there's other bands out there that are kind of latching on to those types of things. And of course, we're trying to find our own avenue, but still kind of incorporate those type of visuals for on stage and on camera that kind of captivates the audience.
I mean, it's definitely a challenge. I think that because there's so many bands out there, and it's about finding your identity. I mean, I should imagine that's a challenge, like harnessing your own sound, like being able to find just who you are as a performing band, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's you know, it's there's so many bands out there. It's hard to it's really hard to kind of find your own avenue in a sense, you know, because there's so many bands out there that are trying to get heard. And especially nowadays with social media, that's a big one, is you're trying to kind of push through the glut of those bands. In fact, Monty Connor, who used to be with Roadrunner, is now with Nuclear Blast. I had the same exact conversation with him. You know, I've known him for many years, and he was like, "Man, this is, you know, it's really good stuff." He likes it. You know, and he's like, it's a tough world out there because, you know, social media, everybody is able to get heard now, you know, YouTube and Spotify and just all the different websites and stuff. So, you know, trying to find that avenue that we want to go and still use our influences for the music and the visuals, but at the same time make it our own.
Yeah.
So I know you came into the band later on, but what would you say the biggest challenges are in joining a new band for people trying to start out their own metal band? Like, I mean, what are the challenges that you found difficult in joining a new band?
So the challenges, I would say, you know, keeping the motivation. And lining that up with what your true, I guess your true wants are, in a sense. You know, I mean, it's very easy, I think, for a lot of musicians to get caught up in the whole, you know, they want to be rock stars. You know, I mean, that's everybody's dream. You know, but at the same time, it's like, don't lose sight of doing it for the passion of music. It's one thing I've learned over the years I've been playing music is like the rest will come. You know, the rest will follow. I mean, if you get distracted with, and that's one of the struggles, is it's very easy to get distracted with all the noise in the industry, whether that's, you know, labels or touring or whatever the case may be. But you know, you got to push through that and just stick to your guns in a sense, and remember why you're doing it. And that's, you know, for yourself and for other people, you know.
Yeah, and that's like I guess it's what I was thinking of is that was that in the pandemic, because you started your band in the pandemic, was that something, a risk that you would think of, all right, well, if we launch, let's say now like a single or an EP, then we can just go off tour then next year, because obviously the pandemic was showing its wave away then after
Yeah.
2022. What would it, was it just like, okay, let's just do this, and that risk that comes with it, like, was it a big risk to take during that time?
You know, I don't think so. I think a lot of artists looked at the pandemic in a sense of an opportunity. At least that's how we looked at it. You know, I think it gave a lot of opportunity for people to really dig in, musicians to really dig in, at least us, and kind of find like our style and what we want to do. And then, you know, of course, the pandemic ended, and now we're at the point where just, I mean, the touring, all the tours are just getting flooded. Everybody's going on tour now. So it couldn't be a more perfect time for us to, you know, take that year or so during that time and focus on writing and making our sound the best we can, and then hit the road.
Yeah. And that's the best thing for me and Reese, is that when the pandemic lifted and stuff, I'd be like, yes, give us that energy again, because
Yeah.
that's what
Yeah.
took away from us, and that's what helps us with. I think I was speaking to Reese for Reese's point of view as well. What helped us with mental health
Oh, indeed,
during
yeah.
that time.
Yeah.
I think that's what we need, and to see you guys form a band in a pandemic, write songs,
This positivity is there, you know, it shows
yeah,
and music helps us all kind of no matter I think in a way it helps us fans with mental health. I mean it's always been a source of inspiration for us, haven't it, Josh? I mean the
yeah.
metal in itself, like,
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think that, as I was mentioning, I think that you band like a band that's new, that wants to be shared. I think that you did it in a great way of like, right, if people are just bored of listening to the same old shit because of the 3 years of the pandemic, where people are not potentially releasing new material because they're too busy writing, we're just gonna show up, and hopefully we'll get an audience from there then, because obviously people had more time than to listen to Spotify,
yeah.
had more
Right.
time to listen to Deezer or whatever, or for example, CDs, vinyl. I bought a shit ton of vinyl in the pandemic. I don't now, because I usually spend money on gigs or going to the pub, but it's just that back then that's all I could pay money on,
Yeah.
and it did me good. It really did. And I just
Yeah.
speaking of vinyl, I know as a young man and stuff, have you released vinyl, or are you going to release vinyl, or is it just EP singles and albums for now?
Yeah, at the moment, well, I mean, we definitely do have plans on releasing vinyl, and everything. You know, at the moment, we've pretty much got quite a few songs done. I mean, we're going on about 9 songs that are done and tracked, that are being released. And you know, we're definitely planning on next year, after we hit these tours in Europe, UK, and then the North American tour. We're going to be hitting the studio next year. We've got a lot of brand new material that's going to be coming out, that I think people are going to really enjoy for sure. But vinyl is definitely in the plans for the future.
That's good.
Yeah, it's good to see the vinyl coming back, really, isn't it? Because that's when it's all started out, right? On vinyl, yeah. But right, I got a question that I'll always like to ask. If I see nicely with the metal happiness with things like inspiration. So, what does metal mean to you?
Metal to me, I mean, it's an outlet. It really is. Us as humans, we tend to keep our emotions inside, and I think music in general is just an outlet. I know personally speaking, I mean, music has saved my life countless of times, whether that's the lyrics or the melodies or just the heart aggression. I mean, we go through the emotions as human beings, of sadness and anger and fear and all these things. So I think metal mixed with that melody just kind of allows you to get all those emotions out at once, in a sense. So
Yeah, you mentioned melody just then. Like, is that a main staple for you as a band?
I think it's important. So we have a mix, but for the most part, we definitely enjoy having the melodies in there. I mean, I think it's important for a band to be successful to not necessarily pigeonhole yourself in one single category. Music is art, and if we can reach as many different audiences with that as we can, whether that's with theatrics on stage, melodies, hard hitting, heavy breakdowns, whatever the case may be, I think that's kind of what our staple is.
So, like, every band, they feel, wants to be remembered within the metal rock scene. What do you hope your legacy will be to the metal scene?
Yeah, boy, that's a tough question. I think time will tell, but I think, we're kind of still kind of finding ourselves in a sense. We're progressing in the right direction. Again, I think we pride ourselves in our live performance, a lot with the theatrics. We don't stand still. It's just I think people are going to be captivated when they see us live with our live show and just the music itself, really.
Yeah, I know, and I agree because you're pretty fresh, really, in that sense.
Yeah.
I just find that your music has helped your fans.
How our music has helped our fans?
Yeah,
Yes,
so
yes.
so if your music has helped your fans,
Yeah.
tell us some stories if so.
Yeah, so I think all our songs tell a story. And one that really stands out to me is one of our singles, The Awakening. We've got a music video for that. It's more on I don't want to say softer side. It's still got the heaviness to it. But that song in particular is focused towards preventing teen suicide and suicide in general. So, it's kids, especially nowadays, they live under so much more pressure, or even different pressures. You've got social media and wanting to be accepted, which still we would deal with that as kids, even people my age. But I think it's easier to get sucked into the depression and anxiety of this world with social media.
Yeah.
So the awakening really kind of brings that out, and allows people, especially teenagers, to really relate to that. So if you haven't checked out that video, I definitely recommend it.
That's great. That's great because like you mentioned about social media is kind of dangerous. Like and I've witnessed that over the years, especially in terms of like not just social media, but like phones in general. Like
Yeah.
you will always be on your phone, you never put it down. And like it's crazy because it's like you could even like write music these days as well by a robot, an AI system, and it's just absolutely crazy.
Yeah, it's such
Yeah.
a story a bit, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely is crazy for sure. You know, and again, like I said, I mean, I think our music really, when people see us live, the two of them combined are you know, it's definitely something that people will enjoy.
Yeah, so my last question before we wrap up was that if you could because I guess you're gonna say a lot of new metal bands, but if you could tour with anyone right now, who would it be and why?
Oh, that's a tough one. Me personally, um, I think it'd be great to tour with like Five Finger Death Punch. I think they, you know, they've been around for a while. I know Ivan personally, so to share the road with him, I think would be a blast. I think it'd be a really good time. I think their fans would really enjoy our music. And yeah, that would be my pick.
That's cool, man. I think that'd be good to see as well.
It definitely is all together, you really would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the crowd will bounce for that as well. So that's pretty cool. And one more thing before you go, we would want to ask you number one, have you got any plugins that you want to any shout outs that you want to mention?
You know, Jamie Roberts is our publicist right now. She's been doing amazing for us. Sean Baruch, our management team. We just have an amazing team behind us at the moment that are really helping us make things happen. And obviously my brothers in the band. I mean, these are some of the best guys I've been a part of personally in music. Not just talent wise, but just friendship wise. There's a lot of loyalty with all of us in this band and a lot of respect. So, but yeah, absolutely. I mean, Il Nino, we're very, you know, excited to hit the road with them and Ectomorph and Mushroom Head and Upon a Burning Body. So we're really happy with the team that's behind us right now with Jamie and Sean. And we're looking forward to visiting your guys' cities.
But anyway, I just want to say thank you for being part of today's podcast. That's great to have you on.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you guys so much for having me on. It's an honor.
That's fun. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thanks for coming on anyway.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
I'll see you soon, man.
Take care. Bye.
All right. Rock on, guys. See ya.
Bye.